Imagine opening your Christmas gifts, expecting something thoughtful, something that shows your family really gets you. Instead, every package is a punch to the gut. That's what happened to me. I told my family one simple thing: no Harry Potter merch. I explained why, laid my heart bare, and thought they understood. But when I tore open those presents, my stomach churned. Yards of cheap, licensed Harry Potter fabric spilled out, each piece a loud, mocking reminder that they didn't listen. They didn't care. I was a non-binary kid who'd loved those books as a child, but now, supporting that brand felt like betraying myself. My family knew this. They knew, and they ignored me. 11 yards of garish fabric, from every single relative, sat in my closet for months, a pile of betrayal. But then, I had an idea. A bold, defiant plan to take their thoughtless gift and turn it into something that screamed my truth. This is the story of how I transformed their mistake into my triumph, and trust me, you'll want to hear how it ends. If you've ever felt ignored or disrespected by the people who are supposed to love you, this story will hit home. Smash that like button if you've ever wanted to turn someone's carelessness into your victory. Subscribe, hit that bell, and get ready for a revenge story that'll leave you cheering. This isn't just about fabric or gifts, it's about taking back your power and making a statement no one can ignore. Let's dive in. I've always been a dreamer. As a kid, I'd lose myself in books, especially Harry Potter. Those stories were my escape, a world where magic made anything possible. I'd curl up under my blanket with a flashlight, the pages smelling of ink and adventure, imagining I was at Hogwarts. But as I grew up, things changed. I came out as non-binary in high school, and it was like the world shifted. I started seeing things differently, including the author of those books I loved. Her public statements about trans people cut deep. They weren't just words, they were a rejection of people like me. Supporting her brand felt like supporting that pain, so I made a choice. No more Harry Potter merch. It wasn't easy to let go of something that shaped my childhood, but it was necessary. It was about standing up for myself. Last July, with the holidays coming, I wanted to make sure my family got it. We were gathered in my mom's living room, the air thick with the scent of her morning coffee. The couch sagged under my cousin's weight, and the summer sun streamed through the window, warming the hardwood floor. I took a deep breath and spoke. I told them I didn't want any Harry Potter stuff for Christmas. I explained why it mattered, how it wasn't just about books anymore but about values, about respecting my identity. My voice shook a little, but I kept going. My mom nodded, her eyes soft. My uncle said, "Got it, we'll respect that." My cousin Mia even squeezed my hand, like she really heard me. I left that conversation feeling lighter, like they saw me for who I was. Like they cared. Christmas morning was a whirlwind. The living room was alive with laughter, the tree lights casting a golden glow over piles of wrapping paper. My little cousins darted around, squealing as they opened their toys. I sat cross-legged on the floor, excited. I love sewing, making things with my hands, skirts, bags, and especially binders that help me feel comfortable in my body. I was hoping for art supplies or fabric I could use for my next project. My mom handed me a gift, her smile wide. I tore it open, expecting something thoughtful. Instead, my heart sank. A yard of Harry Potter fabric stared back at me, covered in cartoonish Hogwarts crests. The colors were so bright they hurt my eyes. My cousin Mia piped up, oblivious. "I thought you'd love this for your sewing," she said, grinning like she'd nailed it. I forced a smile, my throat tight, and opened the next gift. Another yard of fabric, this time with tiny Harrys zooming on broomsticks. Then another, and another. Every single person, mom, dad, aunts, uncles, cousins, had gotten me the one thing I begged them not to. 11 yards in total, each one a knife in my chest. I looked around the room, hoping someone would notice my face, the way my hands trembled as I folded the fabric. No one did. My uncle laughed, tossing a balled-up piece of wrapping paper at me. "You used to love that stuff," he said, like it was no big deal. My mom added, "We thought you'd come around." It's just fun, you know? My cousins were too busy with their own gifts to care. I felt small, like I was shrinking into the floorboards. I mumbled a thank you and asked for receipts, hoping I could return it all. My voice barely carried over the chatter. A few relatives handed over crumpled receipts, muttering half-hearted apologies. But most just shrugged. It's just fabric, my aunt said, rolling her eyes. Don't make a big deal out of it. I wanted to scream, to tell them it wasn't about the fabric, it was about them dismissing me, my identity, my truth. But I didn't. I just carried the pile to my room, stuffed it in my closet, and shut the door. The holidays came and went, but the hurt stayed. Every time I opened my closet, there it was, a heap of cheap, garish fabric, mocking me. I'd run my fingers over the stiff material, the kind that pills after one wash, and feel my stomach twist. My family's words echoed in my head. It's just fabric. Don't make a big deal. But it was a big deal. It was about respect, about them choosing convenience over understanding me. I'm non-binary, and every day I navigate a world that doesn't always see me. My family was supposed to be my safe space, but they'd shown me they didn't care enough to listen. I tried to move on. I sewed other projects, a quilt for a friend, a skirt for myself. The hum of my sewing machine was my therapy, the rhythm of the needle calming my racing thoughts. But that fabric pile loomed, untouched, taking up space in my closet and my mind. I confided in my best friend, Lila, one afternoon over coffee. We sat in a cozy cafe, the smell of espresso and fresh pastries filling the air. Lila's the kind of friend who listens with her whole heart, her brown eyes locked on mine as I spilled everything. I told her about the gifts, the betrayal, the way my family laughed it off. My voice cracked as I admitted how small it made me feel. Lila reached across the table, her hand warm on mine. They didn't just ignore you, she said, her tone fierce. They disrespected you. But you're stronger than that. You can take this and make it yours. Her words lit something in me, a tiny spark of defiance. I didn't know how yet, but I knew I couldn't let their gift define me. January rolled into February, and the hurt hadn't faded. At a family dinner, the topic came up again. We were crowded around my aunt's dining table, the clink of forks and the smell of roasted chicken filling the room. My aunt brought up the fabric, her tone teasing. You still mad about that Christmas stuff, she said, smirking. My cousin snickered, and my uncle chimed in. Just use it already. It's not like it's cursed. The table erupted in laughter, and my face burned. I excused myself, slipping into the bathroom. The cold tile against my palms grounded me as I leaned over the sink, tears stinging my eyes. I looked in the mirror and saw someone tired of being dismissed. I was done feeling powerless. I didn't know what I'd do yet, but I knew I had to do something. One chilly February evening, I sat on my bedroom floor, staring at the fabric pile. My sewing machine hummed softly in the corner, a familiar comfort. The room smelled of lavender from a candle I'd lit to calm my nerves. I'd been planning to make a new binder, something I'd done before to feel more at home in my body. A binder needs specific materials, soft, thin fabric for comfort, non-stretchy fabric for structure, and stretchy material for the back to bind effectively. As I sifted through my supplies, my eyes landed on the Harry Potter fabric. Its bright patterns, golden snitches, Hogwarts crests, wands, screamed at me. For the first time, I didn't feel anger. I felt a spark, sharp and electric. What if I took this fabric, their thoughtless, hurtful gift, and turned it into something that affirmed me? Something that said, you didn't break me. You don't get to define me. I could make a binder, my most personal creation, using their fabric. Not to honor the brand, but to reclaim it. To take their dismissal and transform it into a symbol of my strength. I grabbed a yard of the snitch-patterned fabric, its stiff texture perfect for the structural layer of a binder. I laughed out loud, a mix of nerves and excitement. This was it. This was my revenge. I called Lila that night, my voice buzzing with energy. I'm going to make a binder out of it, I told her. I'm going to take their stupid gift and make something that's mine. Lila hooped through the phone. That's my girl, she said. Show them what you're made of. Her encouragement fueled me. I wasn't just sewing a binder, I was sewing a statement. The next few weeks were a whirlwind. My bedroom became a workshop, threads and fabric scraps scattered across the hardwood floor. The air smelled of cotton and machine oil, and my playlist blared Defiant anthems, punk rock and indie pop that matched my mood. I pulled out my favorite soft cotton for the inner layer, a pale blue that felt like a hug against my skin. For the back, I used a stretchy black spandex I'd saved for special projects. And for the structure? That garish Harry Potter fabric, its bright patterns destined to be hidden inside, where only I'd know it was there. It felt like burying their betrayal in something that made me whole. Sewing a binder is meticulous. I measured twice, cut once, my hands steady but my mind racing. This is for me, I thought as I pinned the layers together. Not for them. Not for her. The machine whirred as I stitched, each seam a small act of rebellion. I imagined my family's faces if they knew what I was doing, turning their gift into something that affirmed my non-binary identity, something the author they supported would hate. The thought made me smile, a sharp, triumphant grin. I worked late into the night, my eyes burning from staring at tiny stitches. Doubts crept in sometimes. What if it doesn't work? What if they find out and laugh? But I pushed them away. This wasn't about them anymore. It was about me taking back control. After weeks of work, the binder was done. I held it up, the soft blue cotton smooth under my fingers, the spandex back stretchy and strong. Inside, hidden from view, was the Harry Potter fabric, its bright patterns now part of something that made me feel powerful. I slipped it on, feeling the stretchy back hug my chest, the non-stretchy layer holding everything in place. I looked in the mirror and saw myself, not their version of me, but the real me. My shoulders straightened, my chin lifted. I felt unstoppable. Lila came over the next day, her eyes lighting up when she saw the binder. We sat on my bed, the afternoon sun filtering through the curtains, casting warm stripes across the room. This is incredible, she said, running her fingers over the seams. You took their mess and made it art. I grinned, my chest swelling with pride. It's more than that, I said. It's me saying they don't get to win. Lila hugged me, her arms tight. You're a badass, she whispered. I laughed, but inside, I felt something shift. I wasn't just a kid who'd been hurt. I was someone who could fight back. The real test came at the spring barbecue in my aunt's backyard. The air smelled of grilled corn and sunscreen, and the chatter of relatives filled the space. Kids ran through the grass, their laughter mixing with the sizzle of burgers on the grill. I wore my new binder under a loose tank top, the hidden fabric a secret that made me stand taller. As I helped set the table, my cousin Mia noticed. You seem different, she said, her brow furrowing. I just smiled. Yeah, I've been working on some new projects. She didn't press, but I could tell she was curious. Later, as we sat around the fire pit, the flames casting flickering shadows, my uncle brought up the gifts. His tone was teasing, like always. So, what did you do with all that Harry Potter fabric? Still mad about it? The others laughed, expecting me to shrink like I had before. My heart pounded, but my voice was steady. Actually, I used it, I said. I made something for myself. Something that makes me feel good in my skin. Something that says I don't need your approval, or anyone else's. The laughter died. My mom's eyes widened, and my aunt shifted uncomfortably. I didn't tell them it was a binder, that was mine to keep. But I saw the realization hit, their joke hadn't broken me. It had fueled me. My cousin Mia tried to deflect. Well, at least you used it, she muttered, her voice lacking its usual smugness. My uncle looked away, his smirk gone. For the first time, they didn't have the upper hand. I sat back down, the binder hugging my chest, a quiet triumph coursing through me. They'd ignored my wishes, dismissed my identity, but I'd taken their gift and made it a symbol of my strength. I felt free, validated, like I'd reclaimed a piece of myself they'd tried to erase. But the story didn't end there. A few weeks later, Lila convinced me to take it further. Our town was hosting a local craft fair, a big event where artists and makers showed off their work. Lila had a booth for her jewelry, and she dragged me along. "Show off your binder," she said, her eyes sparkling. "Let the world see what you did." I hesitated. Sharing something so personal felt scary. But Lila's enthusiasm was infectious, and I was tired of hiding. I agreed to display the binder, not as a functional piece but as art, a statement about reclaiming power. The fair was buzzing. Booths lined the park, filled with colorful quilts, pottery, and handmade soaps. The air smelled of kettle corn and fresh grass, and a local band played upbeat folk music in the background. I set up a small display next to Lila's booth, the binder pinned to a mannequin with a sign that read, "Reclaimed, turning hurt into strength." I didn't mention Harry Potter or my family, but the story was there in the seams, in the way the bright fabric peeked out from the edges, transformed into something new. People stopped to look, their faces curious. A few asked questions, and I told them a version of the truth. Someone gave me something I didn't want, so I made it into something that's mine. Then, something incredible happened. A young woman approached, her eyes hesitant but bright. She was trans, she told me quietly, and seeing my binder gave her courage. "I've been scared to make my own," she said. "But this, it makes me feel like I can." My throat tightened, and I nodded, unable to speak. Others came too, a non-binary teen, a parent of a trans kid, a queer artist. They saw the binder and saw themselves in it. My little act of defiance had become something bigger. It wasn't just about me anymore, it was about showing others they could take their pain and make it powerful too. The fair wasn't the end of it. My family heard about it, of course. Small towns talk. At the next family gathering, a tense summer picnic, my aunt pulled me aside. The air was thick with humidity, and the picnic tables were covered in red checkered cloths. She crossed her arms, her face tight. "I heard you showed off that fabric at some fair," she said. "What's that about? Trying to make us look bad?" I took a deep breath, the binder under my shirt giving me strength. "It's not about you," I said. "It's about me. I took what you gave me and made it mine. If that makes you uncomfortable, maybe think about why." She opened her mouth, then closed it, her face red. For once, she had no comeback. My cousins avoided my eyes, and my uncle stayed quiet. They'd tried to dismiss me, but I'd turned their gift into a victory they couldn't touch. Looking back, this wasn't just about a pile of fabric or a binder. It was about standing up for myself in a world that doesn't always listen. My family thought they could brush off my feelings, but I showed them, and myself, that I'm stronger than their dismissal. There's something powerful about taking something meant to hurt you and turning it into something that lifts you up. It's not about revenge for revenge's sake, it's about justice, about saying, "You don't get to define me." I hope this story reminds you that you have that power too. No matter how small you feel, you can take the pieces of your pain and build something beautiful. Halfway through, let's pause. If this story's hitting you, drop a comment below and tell us, have you ever turned someone's mistake into your victory? Your stories keep this community alive, so share them. And if you're loving this, give that like button a tap and make sure you're subscribed for more. The aftermath of the fair stayed with me. I kept sewing, making more binders, each one a little rebellion. Lila and I started a small online shop, selling custom pieces and donating part of the profits to trans youth programs. The Harry Potter fabric was long gone, used up in my binder and a few other projects, but its legacy lived on. Every time I wore that binder, I felt a quiet strength, a reminder that I could take the worst things and make them mine. My family never brought up the fabric again. At holiday gatherings, they were quieter, less smug. I didn't need their apologies, I'd already won. The craft fair had another ripple effect. The trans girl I met there, Emma, became a friend. We'd meet up at the cafe, swapping stories about our lives, our struggles, our wins. She made her first binder a month after the fair, and when she showed it to me, her smile was brighter than the sun. "You inspired me," she said, and I felt my heart swell. This wasn't just my story anymore, it was hers, and others like her. It was about building a community, about showing the world that we can take what hurts us and make it beautiful. My family's betrayal had stung, but it also pushed me to find my strength. I'd turned their thoughtless gift into a symbol of who I am, and in doing so, I'd inspired others to do the same. That's the real victory, not just proving them wrong, but showing others they can rise above too. I still sew, still create, still fight for my place in the world. And every time I slip on that binder, I'm reminded, I'm here, I'm me, and no one can take that away. If this story gave you chills or made you cheer, smash that like button and tell us in the comments, what's the most satisfying way you've turned someone's mistake into your victory? Subscribe for more stories of karma, justice, and epic comebacks, and hit that bell so you never miss one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.